Keep going. Colorado, there are 6. Keep going. Pennsylvania, 13. Louisiana, there are 12. Arizona, there are 5. No, wait. Yes, 5. Alabama, there are 11 Alabamas. Keep going. Oh, I love this. Are you ready? 483 Rhode Islands in Alaska. North Dakota, there are 8. Pardon me? Ohio, there are 14. Where are the Texans today? Where are the Texans? They're usually the loudest and the first. I don't know. We'll take 1 or 2 more. Nevada, well, there I heard that. Nevada, there are 5. Well, let's just take a look. Nobody spoke up from Texas, which really surprises me, but let's take a look at Texas. There in Texas, Alaska is 2.3 times the size of Texas. There's Alaska, and there's Texas to scale. And actually, one of the privileges I have on this job is to go to the bridge and narrate. And I will be narrating at Endicott Arm, and I'll also be making some sail-in and sail-out comments along the way. Those will never be in the pattern, but I try to announce them to you, and also will Sean. But one day, a number of years ago, I was on the bridge, and I looked down, and I could see all of the cabins there, but I was shocked because some Texan was flying his flag up here in Alaska. But here's what we say in Alaska about Texas. Here's what we say. Ain't Texas cute? Now, when Russia was defeated in the Crimean War, and when they thought there were no otters left, they didn't know what they had. They needed money. So they sold this land of ice and snow to this little fledgling country that we're going to be celebrating tomorrow. Now, this was Secretary of State William Seward, and doesn't he look like everybody's favorite grandpa? But he was very, very foresighted, and it always overwhelms me when I do the program about Sitka, because it's amazing that this transaction ever happened. But he negotiated it right after the Civil War. There they are signing the degree, the document. And in Sitka, we'll see this church. This is a vintage photo. You won't see a church looking quite like this. This is St. Michael's. My mother took this in 1952, so this is a long time ago. There it is now. And can you see the difference between the two? There's the current one. There's that one. What color is the clock here? It's black. What color is it here? They did that on purpose, so you couldn't go back and say you took a picture of a 250-year-old church because this burned. But here is the actual check that they sold it for, and they sold it for $7.2 million. That's equivalent to over $160 million today, just a steal. Now they were laughing like crazy. They called it Seward's Folly, Seward's Icebox, but no one was laughing in 1959 when Alaska finally became the 49th star on the flag after 92 years. Now tomorrow we'll talk about the gold rush, and it was amazing. This headline, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Overnight, tent cities sprang up out of everywhere. This was Dawson City, this is Dyea, this is Skagway, and this is Dawson City. And finally, some of them just stayed behind. Now, we call these people sourdoughs. These old guys are called sourdoughs. They came up here to find gold and stayed. Now, where did they get that name? Well, they got their name because during the gold rush, we'll talk about this tomorrow, they carried sourdough starter under their shirt so they could make pancakes while it was such a cold weather. But really, they just stayed. And my dad used to say they were soured on the country, didn't have enough dough to get out. And then this main artery, the Alaska Railroad, some of you may have been on it, construction began in 1903. It wasn't really finished until 1923, but now it's this amazing Alaska Railroad that goes between Anchorage and Fairbanks and all the way down to Seward. During the Great Depression, President Roosevelt tried to make a settlement in Alaska. He called it the Matanuska Project. Actually, it was kind of a flop. It didn't work too well for a lot of reasons. Basically, the government just messed up, but few of the people stayed behind. But really nothing happened much in Alaska after the purchase of Alaska until the war. So fishing went on, gold mining went on, but it wasn't until World War II that Alaska became very strategic. And during the war, it was extremely strategic. Actually, after Pearl Harbor was bombed, we will be in Haines in a couple of days. You will see the only fort in Alaska that was there. Really, really pretty. Go and see it. But overnight, military installations sprang up from the Aleutians to the southeast to the interior, and all of the military was everywhere. They had also decided during World War II that we needed a land artery, so they built what we call the Alaska-Canadian Highway, the Alkane Highway, 1,600 grueling miles through Arctic weather, rushing streams, mountain forts, muskeg, and it was amazing. It took an army to build it, including a lot of equipment. Just take a look at this. It was pretty intense, very intense. And it cost at that time $138 million. That was the most expensive project during World War II, and that would be $2.1 billion today. Finally, they declared that it was open for operation on November 20, 1942. They declared it open for operation, albeit a very treacherous one, to say the least. Well, the gold rush came, and then the DEW line came, and it came in the 50s. And then, of course, the pipeline came in the 90s, in the 70s, excuse me. But World War II, again, changed Alaska. And it was into this brand new world that I was thrust with my family right after the war in 1947. Now, I know when you look at me today, you don't think I was alive then, and I really appreciate the fact that you feel that way. But from then until now, Alaska has been part of me. It really defines me to a great degree. We were living in Texas, so this is why I can make jokes about Texas, where my father was a pastor of a church, and he was invited. We were in Texas, living down here in San Antonio, and he was invited of this adventure of a lifetime, and he was invited to go from San Antonio all the way to Fairbanks, Alaska, the distance of 4,000 miles. Now, my parents didn't know anything about Alaska, and I was just small. My older brother didn't know much either. But two things had to happen before we came. The first thing was, excuse me, that my father was driving an old World War II beater, and the church said, you've got to have a new car, and we'll pay for it, but you've got to have a new car to take to Alaska. Well, like adopting a child today, it was very complicated. So Dad put his name on car dealerships in Dallas and San Antonio and Austin, Houston, Oklahoma City, and finally, this is what he got, this 1947 Hudson step down. And it's with that car that we drove all